What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Taking the Pin. And today, we're starting an Evolution. We are talking all things women's wrestling with Evolution 2 on the horizon this weekend. We're going to be discussing the card, giving our thoughts on it, and also, as always, whenever there's a card like this on, giving our predictions. So, Bragster, what's your feelings on Evolution heading into this weekend?
2 weeks ago, did not care. Now, I'm absolutely hyped. Like, the card is, I would say, pretty much confirmed by the sake of, like, it is confirmed, but obviously we haven't had SmackDown yet. So it might not be, but let's be honest, it is. Bar a few people maybe in the Battle Royal. But there's not a dud on this card. There's not a single what would be perceived as like a piss break match.
Yeah.
There's none of that in the entire thing. You know, there's each match has something to enjoy about it, and the fact that it does means it's a very well built card. Like, obviously, there's a few of the matches that maybe feel a bit more thrown together, or don't have as much build as others, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be bad because they have really good wrestlers in them that can pull a match out their backsides. Mm-hmm. Because we know that, we're still excited given the fact that there still is no build to a few of the matches. But for me, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with where you're at in terms of it. A couple of weeks ago was thinking, should we be having this card? Because it doesn't really look like there's anything here. And there wasn't really much in terms of build. Now, I know, obviously, Liv Morgan's injury really threw it all into smithereens in terms of the original plans. And who knows what those originally looked like. But, of course, she was going to play a big part in it. But now, I think, after watching last night's Raw, seeing what they've put together and what we have, and then actually looking at the card match by match, I think we're in for a really good night, to be honest.
Yeah.
And again, I don't really remember much about the original Evolution. I remember the Becky Charlotte Last Woman Standing match, but other than that, I couldn't remember a lot else. So I might need to go back and watch it. But that being said, I think we should be in for a really good night, and I'm glad that we've now got a match card befitting of the event, because obviously it has been such a long time since we've had an Evolution.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see obviously how the matches come out and what the match quality is like. But I think we should be in for a really good night.
Yeah.
That being said, we're going to do some predictions for all 7 matches that are on the card as at the time of recording, unless something changes. And yeah, so let's get stuck into that and see where we think the medals or participant trophies are going this week. So we'll start off with the Battle Royale. We've got, I think it's looking like it's going to be like 6 women each from like each brand. You've said before recording it could probably be about 20, like a normal Battle Royale number.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular person that you think is favorite to go and win this? Or do you have... Yeah, like what is your thinking on this? Like, is there someone that stands out from the crowd that you think could win this, or do you think it's a bit of a free for all?
I think there's a few. I think that for me, there's one really obvious one, and that's Stephanie Vicker. I think is the most obvious one. I think there's a reason why Julia has the mid-card title and Stephanie Vicker has been simmering away. I think what they're doing with Julia is putting her in the mid-card, doing the whole Gunther way of getting over all the, or you even fast-track it in a way that Jacob Fatu was sort of fast-tracked into losing the title, but still by having the title, it's helped elevate him just in terms of legitimacy. For me, Stephanie's been on the back burner for a reason. There's a reason we got the tease of Iyo and Stephanie. I think that, there's reasons we got teases with Rhea Ripley and Stephanie. I think there's a really good chance that we have Stephanie Vicker win this earlier in the night and we get to that main event and the commentary team's putting over the fact that, both of these women have history with Stephanie. Can be part of it. It can be part of the build, per se. especially if there's some sort of rematch at SummerSlam. So for me, I think Stephanie's the clear favourite. I mean, there's obviously other names. There's one that sticks out in my mind, and that's Chelsea Green. I think that Chelsea Green's brilliant. I think that, when they went over to Paris before, Paris loved her because everyone loves her, but the Europeans really love her. So I think that if you want, in terms of popularity, someone to really get their moment. And also, I really like when Stephanie Vicker can win any championship tournament, number one contenders match, worm her way into the title picture really easily. I love it when battle royals are used as a way to elevate people that maybe aren't quite there, or like a Swami heel, like a Chelsea Green, who realistically wouldn't make it there normally, but you sort of put them in a scenario where they can get there. I think for me, she's the shout that's sort of been lingering for a while. I think there's some really good talent. I think personally, I'm gonna go with heart over head. I think it will be Chelsea Green. I think they're gonna have to pull the rug from under our eyes at a couple of moments on this show. I think the Battle Royal could be one of them, where you have a clear favourite and then shenanigans or whatever get involved. And I think if you're going to have shenanigans, Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis are the perfect bunch of shenanigans that can go into it.
Okay. So, my thinking on it is, like you mentioned before we hit record, there are usually 20 slots for a Battle Royale. Now, of course, they could use whatever number they like, but my theory is going on the basis that they have 20. If you have 6 from Raw, 6 from NXT, 6 from SmackDown, that leaves 2 spots open for some people to return who we maybe haven't seen in WWE for a while. So, why not have the return of Paige, and there is another lady out there who has recently teased a return in AJ Lee.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not out of my mind.
Yeah, you are. You're completely out of your mind.
I am. So on that basis, what better way to have a big surprise and a surprise number 20 entrant in the Battle Royale and AJ Lee win the entire thing? Nikki Bella stands alone in the ring. She thinks, "Oh, I've got this." AJ Lee comes running in. Bish bash bosh.
It's a Battle Royal, not a Royal Rumble. Right?
I know, but just let me try. Just let me try.
Okay, I'm just.
But I'm just saying, if you're gonna introduce a big surprise and do something a bit different and get a lot of eyes on the card in terms of WWE, Paige has already teased it. AJ's teased it. Now AJ's probably playing with everybody, putting the photo up of I think it was a wrestling boots or something.
Yeah.
That she put up. So again, do I think this will happen? Probably not. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely. But I thought with the way they were building Nikki, and then with Nikki's promo on Raw, that's probably where it's gonna go. If she's maybe doing a few matches here. But we'll see. So yeah, AJ Lee's my pick. It makes no sense, but that's what I'm going for. At this point, I'm not very good at predictions, so I may as well just aim for the fences, and if one sticks, I'm a genius.
I mean, you've beaten me in the last couple, to be honest. So
they were mercies, really.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
It went easy.
Anyway, so from the Battle Royale to the No Holds Barred match between Jade Cargill and Naomi. I'll start us off on this one. I think it's going to be Jade Cargill.
Yes.
I think we probably have a very similar feeling about what might happen on this card. And I just think, even though I don't like the fact that obviously Jade beat her at Mania and then she's going to beat her here again, I think it makes more sense in terms of long-term storytelling if they do when eventually Naomi cashes in the briefcase, that Jade's kind of maybe one of the first ones, or maybe the eventual final boss, as it were, for Naomi's title reign. So I'm going for Jade, and I'm hoping it's better than the Mania match, because I wasn't too enamored with the Mania match, to be
I
honest.
quite enjoyed it.
I know
I thought
you
it was
did,
quite fun.
and I'm not saying it was a bad match by any stretch of the imagination,
No.
but from what they both can do, I felt like there was something better left on the table, and I think something like this could give it a bit of extra zing.
Yeah. And to be fair, like from the like Queen of the Ring and stuff like that, finals, I really enjoyed the match between Jade and Asuka. So if Jade can bring the same amount that she brought into that match, alongside obviously Naomi with this really fleshed out heel character, now I think it's quite fun because at Mania we sort of had these two at sort of the crescendos, like they were starting to really gather momentum. We finally got them really at the top of their game. One's the Queen of the Ring, the other one's Miss Money in the Bank. You know, it's a very different feel to the first match that they had. I still believe that Jade is winning. I think she needs the momentum going into SummerSlam. And also, in classic Money in the Bank fashion, just keep getting them to lose. Because they don't lose anything, because who cares? They're going to win the title anyway. And you talk about Jade possibly being the final boss and all of this, and, you know, you have the great thing of Naomi sort of lingering. But what I love is if you have Jade get the upper hand, Jade win again, and then Naomi just snatches it, would just be the most beautiful story of it. Does nothing matters, because when it mattered most, Naomi was the one that got it. Is just a great bit of storytelling.
Yeah.
That then, as you said, later down the line, Jade can be the one to overcome Naomi. You can it's one of the only times I wouldn't mind halfway through Naomi's reign her beating Jade. And then because you think it's over then, and then it carries on, and then eventually Jade comes back. Sort of similar actually to what happened with sort of Jay a little bit. You know, it's like, oh, you think maybe, and then it's like, no, actually, we're doing the loss now to build to make you want it more down the line. I think it will be Jade. I think that's pretty obvious, but I think they're going to put. I think the stipulation and where they both are currently in their character works. I think we're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think it should be a really good match. In terms of the next one, we've got a women's fatal four-way for the tag team championships with Judgment Day represented by Raquel and Roxanne, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss's new allegiance or alliance being tested for the first time. Sol Ruka and Zarya also representing NXT. And then after last night's Raw, the Kabuki Warriors are joining us for a trip down memory lane. So, Bragster, with that being said, who is winning the fatal four-way?
Charlotte Flair, isn't it?
Well,
just Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte
no, it's really harsh because in reality that statement does not stand. Charlotte Flair obviously won the Rumble and all of that, but the whole point was to bring her crashing back down, and they've told that story so well. And you know, I credit to WWE for really making Charlotte Flair eat losses, just to really try and undo all of the damage that was done during Vince's making Charlotte go through multiple reigns of terrors consistently. I think they're doing such a good job of trying to do that, and I think the way you do it even further is you have them hold the tag titles for a bit. This weird dynamic between the two I'm actually quite enjoying. Usually when they throw together teams, it really annoys me. But what I quite like is two vets coming together.
Yeah.
Because they're sick to death of all these young guns sort of coming through and just going, no, we're better than you, and proving that they're better than you. I really like that. And obviously, eventually, it will probably culminate in a turn because the bloody tag titles always do in the women's division. But I think it will feel good this time rather than feeling thrown together. I actually like this story that they're trying to tell, and I actually think there's a world where this makes Charlotte Flair likable, and that's something I know, but you try and watch the like, if you've not seen it already, like, not just to you, to obviously to viewers and stuff, if you've not seen the tag match on Friday Night SmackDown with Charlotte and Alexa, and the creative finish to that match, the mannerisms in that match, there was just something about it. I was like, Charlotte feels fresh, and I think this sort of adds to it. I think that what I really like is that it's a fatal 4-way women's tag match, and out of the 4 teams, the only thrown together one is Charlotte and Alexa, and even then they've been building to this tag team for months, pretty much since Mania, to the point where they feel credible but also feel like an actual team, despite the fact that they're still relatively new, because it's actually been built. And I really enjoyed that, and I think the Judgment Day will lose here. They will then fight again maybe at SummerSlam, because obviously it's 2 nights, so they can chuck the tag titles on there. I think that's when we might see some sort of turn or a return, maybe for Liv Morgan, happen in that sort of tag match. But I think that Charlotte and Alexa win this one. I think this is going to be one of our few title changes on the card.
I completely agree. That's all I can say on it. There's nothing else I can add. I think you've put that so well. I'll just leave it at that for the tag match, really. Next up, we've got the Women's Intercontinental Championship triple threat between Becky, Bayley, and Lyra. So, trying to think of what I would like to happen. Obviously, I'd want Bayley to win. What I think is going to happen is I think Becky's going to win. Because there's nothing worse than a heel that backs up the talk of being as great as she is. And Becky, to be fair, I don't think there's many better at talking a big game and actually following through with it, even if it's nefarious means.
Yeah.
I just think that something between Bayley and Lyra is going to happen, and they'll get in each other's way, and then Becky's going to take advantage, and then Becky can carry it into SummerSlam, and maybe that's when you get a big Becky-Bayley match, maybe, or there's a new challenger that comes along that we maybe haven't considered, and I just think Becky probably takes it. I did have a scenario in my head where I went totally out of my mind, aka AJ Lee / Paige returning and winning a battle royale, where newly crowned tag team champs Charlotte and Alexa came out and screwed Bayley over and formed a mega faction with Becky. And then I thought, is that too far? Maybe. But it would still be cool, because then you could have that real underdog Bayley come back again. It's like, yeah, but then I was like, no, it's a bit too much. So, yeah, Becky's win.
Yeah. This match, as we've discussed off screen, deserves to be the main event. It won't be.
We don't talk off screen. What are you talking about?
Sorry, yes.
It's a miracle we end up on the camera at the same time.
We're not friends. But this deserves to be the main event. And it won't be. And I get why it won't be. But they do have the opportunity to really showcase this bout, because this feud has been brilliant. It's been so well built. It's been worth Bayley not being at Mania for this. It's worth every single moment. And I can't believe I'm saying that now, because I was so angry at the time. But it's so worth it. The entire story's just made it worth it. Like, Bayley's done so well to insert herself into this feud, and so seamlessly. Like, to the point where I genuinely believe there's a chance that we just revisit this triple threat at SummerSlam. That something happens and we just revisit this in some way, shape, or form, maybe in terms of some... I know it's already in no DQ technically, but some more no DQ shenanigans. Something like that. Some extreme rules, maybe.
Like a new faction coming together.
No, absolutely not. I I've been tossing and turning over this like between Bailey and Becky, but I do think it will be Becky because I think that we either are getting triple threat again, or we're getting the Bailey Becky singles match. And I think SummerSlam's going to feel like a mania this year. I think we're going to get a lot of babyface victories this year. I think Bailey's one of them. I think on this card, I think you've got enough big moments elsewhere
Yeah.
to get away with this one being a retain. And as like, there's just so many ways they can go about it. Whether that's Bailey has Lyra done and Becky steals it, whether it's like the opposite, like you've literally got Bailey and Becky going at it, sort of thing, and Lyra's not really involved that much, or there's so many different scenarios. Maybe Bailey's the one that eats the pin. Like there's some sort of nefarious means, and not the faction. There's some sort of nefarious means that go into it. I just think there's so many ways they can go with this, that to the point where it wouldn't even surprise me if they actually put the title back on Lyra, and that's how you get the triple threat again.
Yeah.
Like it really wouldn't surprise me, and I wouldn't blame them for doing it because this triple threat excites me. They've all got amazing chemistry outside of the ring. If they back this up inside the ring, we are in for a treat.
Yeah. 100%. And yeah, I 100% agree with the sentiment of it could very well be the main event, and it wouldn't be out of place there. But we've got bigger titles on the line and bigger players at the moment in the cards, so I think that's probably why it won't end up being there. Maybe it's an opener. We'll see.
I think that's where it'll be.
Yeah. So, from one title match to the next, and we are on the home stretch now with 3 more title matches to come. We'll start out with the NXT Women's Championship. We've got Jacy Jane versus Jordynne Grace. Bragster.
Yes.
Take it away.
Jordynne Grace, innit? I think that I really wasn't convinced. I thought this was just going to be a showcase for Jordynne Grace, and Jacy was going to continue with the title. And then they announced a match for Slammiversary with Masha Slamovich versus whoever the winner of this match is. Title versus title. The story writes itself for Jordynne Grace to not only win here, but to win the TNA Women's title as well, to win back the title that she already had. And it wouldn't feel like a WWE guy going and winning it, like it has done in the past with the likes of even to be fair, like when Wesley and stuff won it, all of that. Like in fairness, they were all ex TNA guys anyway. Yeah. But it wouldn't feel like maybe the Trick scenario is probably the best example of a WWE guy going in, winning it, blah blah. Like this would feel as she's moved on, but she still rules TNA.
Yeah.
Sort of scenario. And again, you can build someone up in TNA to sort of take that away. And I would really like that. Where, rather than it being Masha again, you sort of build someone up. But I think it is Jordynne Grace. I think this is Jordynne Grace's time. We've spoke about it before, that she either has to win the title or leave the brand entirely. This is her winning the title and going to be taking it for a long, long time. Yeah. And that excites me a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I was surprised that it wasn't Jordynne Grace to take the title off Stephanie when we knew Stephanie was coming up. That isn't to disparage Jacy Jane or anything like that. I think she's great. I don't have any issues with her work at all. But I did think that when you've had both Julia and Stephanie leave, it felt like it was Jordynne's time to step up and be the main lady in the NXT roster. But again, there's reasons for it. Maybe this is what they had planned all along, and it just took us a few months longer to get there than we expected. But yeah, I definitely thought once that TNA match came up, I thought, yeah, that's probably the way they're going. Unless they're putting JC in there to go lose the NXT belt and then something happen. But I'm just saying, if they've done it with, the whole Joe Hendry story of him losing the belt, they could do it vice versa, and maybe that's one way of doing it. And
I would love that, because I feel like TNA have got the wrong end, like not the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean, though.
They've never got the upper hand on WWE.
Yeah,
It'd be really fun if
Yeah.
at some point they do.
yeah,
And as you said, that if JC does win, having that story of she's the one that loses it
yeah,
would just be, it'd be so good.
yeah. And then you could have Grace go get it back from her
Yeah.
old stomping ground, essentially, which I think would be quite a fun route to take.
Hmm.
But it does kind of feel like in a card where there's quite a few title matches, this seems like one of the obvious ones where it's going to change. So I'm going to go with Grace on this one as well as yourself.
Unless there's a certain Blake Monroe lying around, and on the Great American Bash show, there's, I'm pretty sure it's a tag match that involves Jordan Grace and Monroe tag teaming together. And wouldn't it be a really good first feud for Monroe if she faces Jordan Grace?
Yeah.
There's that route they could really go down. That's the only way I see Jordan Grace losing, is through shenanigans beyond Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix already. I think it would have to be Blake getting involved, and oh my god, what a moment if so. That would be honestly unbelievable, because the pop would be insane.
Yeah.
That's the only way I see Grace losing this one.
Okay. Fair enough. Which, again, is easily doable, I think, with the various factors they've got at play. But moving on to the second last match of the night, or as we have on the card at the minute, it's the WWE Women's Championship, Tiffy time, taking on Trish Stratus. For me, there's only one winner, I think, unless you take Trish into SummerSlam with it, maybe, and she gets a headline match there as well. But it's Tiffy time still, isn't it? I don't think it changes hands. As great as Trish has been every time she's come back, and hasn't really missed that much of a step every time she's been there, I just can't see anyone other than Tiffy winning this at this point. Can you?
No. As fun as it would be to see Trish with the belt one last time, and I still have a sneaky suspicion they might still do that at some point. I just don't think it is. I think it is Tiffy's time still. I think that, quite frankly, Tiffy is still on her little hot streak. I think there's a certain draft coming up that will help revitalize the divisions from feeling samey.
Yeah.
Why they stopped doing the draft directly after WrestleMania, I do not know, because it makes the most bloody sense to do the draft directly after Mania and have a full-blown reset. You have the Raw and SmackDowns after Manias. You maybe have that final pay-per-view where everyone gets to finish up their last feuds before the draft mixes everything up, and bang, everything gets mixed up. It makes perfect sense. They did it for a few years. They moved it. Why? No one knows why. It's annoying. But I feel like it will revitalize things. I think this is a perfect little stopgap. I mean, this is a great way to get a legend on the card. Again, I don't think it will be the only legend on the card. I think there'll be a couple in the Battle Royal. But I think this is just a really, really good way of having a great match that everyone's going to talk about the next day.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like the majority of, I think all of this card, to be fair, everyone is on top of the game at the minute, and that's why it's probably going to be a great card top to bottom in terms of match quality. So, and yeah, we know both of these can go the distance, so it'll be interesting to see what they put together.
Yeah.
Last, but by certainly no means least, we have probably quite a tough one to call, I imagine. Iyo Sky as the champion with the Women's World Championship going up against Rhea Bloody Ripley in the main event.
Yeah.
I've tossed and turned over this. you probably tossed and turned over this.
Still am.
Still am. Yeah. Kind of a difficult one to call, really, because I really like the idea of Iyo being the one that Rhea can't beat. And I kind of want to keep that going. But at the same time, Rhea is one of the biggest stars, man, woman, or child in WWE.
Yeah.
And there isn't going to be a bigger shot for them to have at the end of the pay-per-view than her having the belt above her head.
No.
And I just, my leaning is they're going to go Rhea. Because going into SummerSlam, they'll probably want to put her in a big feud, and having the belt on her would probably be a really good way of doing that. Like you said before there about the draft, it's a shame the draft isn't coming soon, or isn't, Monday and Friday next week, so that we can maybe give that women's division a bit of a jolt in terms of the matchups we could have. And maybe bring up some people from NXT as well to freshen things up a bit. But that being said, Rhea's probably top 3 stars in the company, if not top 2. I just think there's too much of an opportunity for the women's PLE for the year. That final shot of Rhea with the belt is what's in my head, and I think I'm going to go with Rhea on this one. Though nothing would please me more if they did stick with Iyo being the unbeatable match for Rhea. Yeah,
I get what you mean. This has been something I've just not known about, because they faced each other. We all thought Rhea would win. Iyo won. They faced each other in the triple threat. Everyone thought Rhea would win. Iyo won. And then that seems to be the story, and we keep going on and on about how Rhea always wins, and then Rhea keeps bloody losing. It's really, it's really, really tough, because, as you said, it's all about that closing shot, because I think we're all in agreement that this is going to be the end of the show, despite the fact that, as we sort of hinted at earlier, the Intercontinental Championship would be amazing on last. But I think this is, as we both know, this is going to be the end of the show. And the best shot is Rhea. It is. An even better shot is Rhea face-to-face with Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
They really wanted to do it. Because I don't know who Jade Cargill is going to go for, because obviously traditionally they go for the one that they're on the brand of. And then obviously she's on the brand with Tiffy.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I just don't see Tiffy and Jade being the match. I don't know why. I just almost can't see who Jade faces, because it doesn't feel like it'll be Iyo, it doesn't feel like it'll be Rhea, and it doesn't feel like it'll be Tiffy, and it's going to be one of them. Yeah. So it's a weird feeling, but I just think what can probably happen, it'll be an easy match, is Rhea wins and Iyo then gets the rematch, and we have that at SummerSlam as this fun sort of match. And then as we could then have Liv return then, and you harken all the way back. I say all the way back as if it was ages ago, to Rhea versus Liv again. I'm going to go with Rhea, but as I said, I think it is unpredictable, but not for the reasons that people were probably expecting. For me, it's all on, if Jade Cargill is going to face the women's world champion, it's going to be Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
If not, it's way more up in the air. But I would like to see the Rhea Jade match. And in my head, if you're going to have Naomi cash in on Jade, having her beat the unstoppable force in Rhea Ripley clean as a whistle and then lose straight away would be the biggest kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
And that would work as a cash-in really, really well.
And then the draft comes and then they're immediately split up.
That would be amazing. That would be honestly be incredible, because then you could have Jade win the Rumble. You can have this entire build to almost similar to Cody, actually. This whole build of, I'm on the opposite brand, but I want you. I don't care about the title on my side.
Yeah.
Because you stole it. It's not about the title anymore. It's about taking everything from you. And that's what Cody's story was about. And you know, you can almost do that with Jade a little bit of I don't care. Like the belt I want back, but I want most to take it from you. Would be an amazing story to tell. If they want to tell it.
Yeah. 100%. Do you think could we see a Naomi cash in?
I think because it's Evolution, yes. I don't think we will though. I think that I know we've mentioned before when will Naomi and when will Seth cash in.
Yeah.
And we all were like, oh, Seth will cash in at SummerSlam. I don't think that's the case. I think Naomi's cashing in at SummerSlam. I mean, they pulled the rug under our eyes. They had us focusing on the wrong Money in the Bank winner. And it's brilliant booking to make us focus on the opposite one. So we forget about the other one. So when they cash in, it's an even bigger moment.
Yeah.
The only reason that I'm thinking so heavily about it and I'm not falling for it is because we speak about wrestling every goddamn week.
Yeah.
You know, if I was just a fan and not thinking so heavily into it and just enjoying the weekly shows, I would lose my mind at the possibility of Naomi cashing in at SummerSlam because I'd be so convinced it would be Seth the one doing it. So, and then you could then have Seth tease the cash in. It could be like, oh my God, the first time we've had both cash-ins on the same night or something like that.
Yeah.
Type of deal. They can tease on commentary to the eventual someone stops Seth from cashing in and then whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it happens here. I think that people think it might and it doesn't, and she doesn't even come out, nothing happens, and then it's SummerSlam where things go quiet and bang, there she is.
Fair enough. Okay then, folks. Let us know what your predictions are down in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts on what you think is going to happen at Evolution. And as always, if you want to see more wrestling content, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. And hopefully, Evolution rocks our socks off. See you there.